Yeah, so basically Moses, he was the head chief over the children of Israel, the children of Jacob. The Most High gave the laws unto Moses, and for Moses to teach the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High to the children of Israel. That's how the children of Israel, the origins of how the children of Israel received the law, by the hand of Moses. But now what you got to understand is that Moses, he was the chief man. If any man had a problem, or any woman had a problem, who would you go to? You went to Moses, because Moses was the pretty much the chief judge. Book of Deuteronomy chapter 33 verse 1. And this is the blessing wherewith Moses, the man of the Most High, blessed the children of Israel before his death. And he said, the Lord came from Sinai and rose up from Seir unto them. He shined forth from Mount Paran, and he came with 10,000s of saints. That's talking about the angels. But that's how the Most High showed himself to Moses. He didn't show himself in a vision or in a dream like he did with the other prophets, like Isaiah, like Daniel. He came to Moses face up, face to face. He came on what you call a so-called UFO, what the white man calls a so-called UFO, which is really a chariot of the Most High. Alright? That's what they are. From Mount Paran, and he came with 10,000s of saints. From his right hand went a fiery law for them. So from his right hand came a fiery law for them. That's talking about the laser that came from the chariot itself. From that so-called UFO, the Most High power then sent a laser down, and that's how he carved out the laws inside the stones, inside the tablets of stone, for Moses to take to the children of Israel. All right. Some people they don't really know how that came about. Well, what we're just reading, it shows you, man. From his right hand went a fiery law for them. Yea, he loved the people. All his saints are in thy hand, and they sat down at thy feet. Every one shall receive of thy words. Moses commanded us a law, even the inheritance of the congregation of Jacob. Exactly, so not all people were given the law. Only the children of Israel were ventured to Mount Sinai and received the laws. So it's their duty to keep the laws, It's our duty as the Israelites to keep the law. This is speaking to you brothers that again have ears to hear, innit? The elect. And he was king in Jeshurun when the heads of the people and the tribes of Israel were gathered together. So Moses commanded us a law, and he was king in Jeshurun. All right. So he was the chief. He was the head chief over the people. All right. He was the head man. That's what proves that Moses was the king. Now, when you read Deuteronomy chapter 32, Moses basically sings a song, a psalm, so to speak, unto the Most High, to the children of Israel. When you read the whole, I can't go into it now because, time constraint, but when you read it, that's Moses singing a psalm. And the psalm is, what's the word? Let's do it. Bear with me for 1 second. the Hebrew word for Psalms is Zamar, which literally means to sing praise. Now, when you read about David, the book of Psalms, David also did likewise. He sung psalms. He sung praises to the Most High. He did the same thing that Moses did, showing you that Moses is David. You know, Moses is David because he's got that same spirit. If you're able to differentiate spirits and compare spirits, you can tell that Moses is David. Let me go into the scripture. Book of Ezekiel, chapter 37, verse 24. And David my servant shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them. Because who taught the nation of Israel the judgments of the Most High? Moses did in his time, 4,000 years ago. But there's going to be a point in time in the future from this point where we're going to, David's going to return unto us, man. And once again, the whole nation of Israel, we're going to learn the laws and commandments. We're going to know the laws and commandments of the Most High power. So again, Moses is going to come back as king, as Malak Dawad, alright? And he's going to rule over us. Thus saith the scriptures. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. That's talking about the land of Israel. And they shall dwell therein, even they and their children and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. All right, forever. So that shows what? Reincarnation, all right? Meaning a man will die, obviously he will see his death, but he will return and he will be king again. All right? The book of Zechariah, chapter 2, verse 3. No, wrong scripture actually. Salakia, wrong scripture. Hosea chapter 3, verse 4. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without teraphim. That's talking about the days that we're pretty much in now. Because until Mighty Mo, who, you know, we call him, his name is King Marshall, alright? We didn't have a king over us. We didn't have no sacrifices. Because really, the Lord really was the ultimate sacrifice, so we're not really meant to be doing that, so to speak. But the point is, keeping the laws and stuff, we didn't do that because we went into slavery up underneath the so-called white man. So we didn't have no king over us at that time, because we were all done slaves. We all had been slaves. So we lost our heritage, so to speak. That was the point from what the scripture is talking about. Afterward shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord their power and David their king, which happened during the time when Abba Bivens came on the scene, who we believe to be John or Elijah. That fulfills prophecy. So that's when we came to seek the Lord our power. And that's when we appointed Marshall as acknowledging him as being David. and seek the Lord their power, and David their king, and shall fear the Lord and his goodness in the latter days. Exactly, in the latter days. So we know that's talking about these times, because these are the latter days. For those of you who are able to observe time, you know, you can see the times that we're in. And now let's go to let me read that same verse again. Deuteronomy 33:5. And he was king in Jeshurun when the heads of the people and the tribes of Israel were gathered together. That shows you, like we read in the book of Ezekiel, David is that one principal king. He's that one true physical king, showing you that Moses is David, man. No. The book of Numbers, chapter 12, verse 1. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman. You know, there was a problem about that. Because when you read the book of Ezra, chapter 9, you know what I'm trying to say? You wouldn't read, that was pretty much a sin. And the heads of Israel and all the men of Israel, they put away their heathenistic wives because, you know, we intermingled among them nations, man. You know? And the Most High Power said that we should not do that, according to Deuteronomy chapter 7. These other nations and their gods become a snare unto us, man. Become a snare unto us, man. You understand? So we wasn't meant to be getting with these other heathenistic women. And that was so even in the time of Moses, man. Alright? That's why Miriam and Aaron tried to get at Moses. And they wasn't really supposed to do that because what? Moses is the king, man. Moses was the king.